we have even more data at our disposal when we're trying to understand the economic history of these different countries. And so here, this is showcasing exports only. So this is the export of products, not services. What we have over time. So 1995 to relatively recent, as close as we can get. And then the export value is essentially the value of those exports. At the top, this is showcasing the overall exports, total exports for the most recent year. So 11.7 trillion is what that means. So exports, this is Japan. So some things we can see first off here is you don't see a lot of primary sector. You see just a little bit there, metals. You don't see any agriculture. You don't see textiles. You don't see sweaters. You don't see t-shirts being exported from Japan. Instead, you see overwhelmingly high-tech, very innovative stuff, cars, machines that make cars. So we're talking very, very, very sophisticated technology in terms of what they're exporting. And so stuff that has a lot of value. Another thing that we'll note is we can see some changes and some fluctuations over time. We definitely see the global economic recession that left its impact here in the Japanese exports, but also we can see that the tsunami. I mean, Japan is still trying to recover from that devastating environmental event. Another thing we notice is Japan definitely had a head start, definitely had higher levels of industrialization than the other countries, and we can just see that. Look how much higher the trend line is compared to the other ones that we're going to look at. So essentially, Japan, their products were being exported at much higher quantities but values before the other countries. Now let's look at South Korea. So South Korea, we see definitely more mineral products and metals, so more diversification in their economy than Japan, which is overwhelmingly high-tech stuff. So here we see some primary sector, so not relying exclusively on secondary sector, but also the global economic recession of the late 2000s clearly noticeable here. And further, unlike Japan, they're on an upswing right now, whereas previously we've shown Japan going down. Now we look at China. China, by far the biggest number we'll see here, 11.7, 6.2, 20.6 trillion in terms of its export value here. Definitely more diversity, definitely more textiles. This is more likely where you're going to find more of your clothing items. And C, assignment, where your stuff comes from was China. Increasingly more machines. But we look at then North Korea, B. So here you see billion instead of trillion, where those other countries we saw their export value. What are they overwhelmingly dependent on? Animal products, so that really speaks to agriculture, mineral products, textiles. So these are low-skilled, low-tech primary sector, low-skilled, low-tech secondary sector. Very minimal do we see, automobiles, cars, machines, hardly any exports of those types of things. Overwhelmingly, they're exporting mineral products and textiles.